everybody! In today's video I'm going to be showing you an aquarium eyeball. So it's a nice big domed eyeball with blood kind of melding it down with the rest of the nail. And then the aquarium element is that the color of the eye is glitter inside and it moves around. The great thing with doing an aquarium that's a big dome like this is that the glitter or whatever you decide to put inside of it has plenty of space to move freely. A lot of times the trouble with an aquarium nail is that there's just not that much space. If you have a lot of space in there, you've either got a lot of bulk underneath or a big bulk on top, which, I mean, obviously this nail is bulky, it's a huge eyeball, but it does also allow for the glitter to have plenty of space to move freely. I also find that this type of aquarium is easier to close, easier to make sure it's sealed. I just like the results of it so much better than trying to do it in a nail. I hope you guys like this one, and if you have ever made aquariums and you have any questions, I'm no expert, but I am getting better. They used to be kind of a struggle point for me, but if you do have a question on aquariums specifically, I would be happy to answer them to the best of my knowledge, and I will see you all next time. Bye!
I am going to begin by applying a layer of Cover Pink acrylic over this nail just to kind of create that flesh tone background. If you you can switch up this color however you want to match yourself or your client or whoever may be wearing this, but I would try to keep it so that it just kind of smooths out and it doesn't look like it's a background color that really sticks out, because the blood and the eyeball on top are really the showpieces. So try to make this background color as neutral and as basically invisible as possible so that it doesn't stick out. After I have this full overlay done, this color of acrylic, if it is just like a Cover Pink, it doesn't need to have any kind of encapsulation on it. So just go ahead and file it into shape with your e-file, smooth it out, make sure it's all ready to go. And now inside a mold, and this is a mold I made a little while ago, and I can put a link to the video that I made it in the description box below if you are interested to see the process of making a mold for the purpose of nail art. But we're going to take and fill in very carefully a thin layer of clear acrylic all the way around the inside. After that has cured, it's nice and crunchy, it's not going to bend. We're going to pop it out of the mold, and then smooth out any areas on the inside that you might be able to see better now that it's out of the mold, if it's a little uneven or if there's any lines on the inside. It's a little awkward to do so because you're working on the inside of a curve, but with some careful work, it does work out. On a nail form backing, I'm going to sculpt a large circle with white acrylic that is at least the size of the circle of the eyeball, and then make a little hole in the middle of it. Back to your dome, I'm going to just take a hand file and smooth out that bottom edge that's a little bit uneven. After that has been filed, it's nice and straight. I'm going to take some isopropyl alcohol or possibly even acetone and clean out all of that dust. Any of that dust will end up inside your aquarium, and you don't really want a dusty aquarium. I am now going to take a scoop of green glitter because that's the color I want my eye to be, and I'm going to pop that in the middle, put down a tiny bit of nail glue, and then hold that white disc on the top, basically creating a seal with the exception of that hole in the center of the disc. Now, since it's just glued in a couple little spots, you have to make sure that it isn't going to leak, and in this moment, it would certainly leak. So I'm going to take some more clear acrylic and I'm going to carefully seal it up around that bottom edge, making sure I don't tip this so that the glitter that is inside your eyeball currently doesn't get stuck in that clear acrylic. So make sure you just try to keep it as level and flat as possible so the glitter stays at the bottom of the eyeball and doesn't get up towards where this wet acrylic is. After you have gone around and you're certain it is sealed all the way around the circle, fill in your hole with a syringe filled with water. So I have just a syringe that I have cleaned and have on the side that I've always just kept for this. Otherwise, I know you can buy syringes off of eBay or Amazon for this purpose. I'm just going to fill that in with water after I'm confident that it's at least mostly filled. Maybe there's a bubble. It happens. I'm going to fill in that hole, that's my fill hole, with white acrylic so that it does not leak. Hopefully it's not leaking. If it is leaking, find the leak, seal it. Otherwise, I'm going to take a hand file and I'm going to carefully file away the extra of that white disc that is extended beyond the edge of my dome. Take this slowly. You don't want to file too aggressively, too quickly. Get out of control, because then you're going to end up creating a leak if you file all the way through the acrylic into where the water is. So just take your time, check it, make sure it looks good from the sides and all angles before you just kind of go crazy. I'm now going to attach it to the center of the nail that I have filed to the side with clear acrylic. If you wanted to use nail glue, if nail glue is your pal, go ahead and use that instead, but still go through and fill in around the bottom of it with clear acrylic. Try to smooth it out so that it doesn't have a really big ridge from the edge of the eyeball onto the nail, especially on the sides left and right where there is a bigger difference. Once that's done and cured, then I'm going to take red acrylic and I'm going to be adding my bloody drips. As I am sculpting these, I am being very careful not to take the red anywhere where I don't want it. Usually with acrylic, if you have some, color that goes in the wrong spot, you can just take your brush and push it back to where it belongs. However, in this circumstance with red on top of this very pale background color that I am using, what would happen is the red would stain and get very smudgy on the background color. And the only way to remove it would be to file or buff that area to remove that acrylic. I don't want to have to do that. So I'm being very careful to try to just keep the red acrylic exactly where I want it and not have it go all running all over the place. One thing that helps to do that is to make sure that you are using small beads of acrylic, working on a section at a time, not trying to overdo it and do too many things at once, and keeping your acrylic at the right consistency, which is a struggle and something that you have to learn. And it's just one of those things that once you have it, you have it. However, this is a great little practice to really focus on what the texture of your acrylic is. How long are you dipping your brush into the monomer? How deep are you dipping your brush? How long are you putting it in your polymer? Trying to get that texture to be just right for sculpting something like drips. With some black acrylic paint, I'm going to be adding the pupil on the center of my eyeball. I will not be painting an iris because the green glitter is going to be my iris representative. And I'm going to just carefully draw that circle right in the center. As you can see, there is one spot where my circle got a little bit bumped and thicker to the side. I'm just going to leave that for a moment. You'll see how I fix it. With some red acrylic paint, I'm going to highlight my bloody drips. It's a slightly brighter shade than the acrylic that I used. And now with white acrylic paint, I'm going to go ahead and add some highlights to my pupil to make my eyeball look shiny. I'm going to cover up that little spot where my black circle got wonky with the white acrylic, and then nobody has to know. I applied some matte top coat over the background, some 3D glaze over my bloody drips, and then some gel sealer over the top of the eyeball. So we have matte, kind of like a satin sheen, and then super high gloss over the eye. This will give each of those different areas kind of a bit of their own personality for shine. And then after it's cured, it's all done, and it's so much fun to play with. I absolutely love making a design for nails that is interactive. Like I said, if you have any questions on aquariums, don't hesitate to reach out. I will answer them to the best of my ability, and I will see you all next time. Bye.